Dr. Alicia Aguon is, of course, the Dean of the School of Education. She's also a very, very dear friend of mine and a former professor. I had her for MA 161 way back in 1992. So, Dr. Aguon, always good to see you. Half a day.
Half a day and buenas, Jason. Thank you for that fond memory. And we are very proud of you as one of our alumni from the University of Guam.
Oh, well, thank you. And we are so proud of you. And again, you have absolutely not surprising and not shocking, but still wildly impressive because your leadership, your guidance, the School of Education, and given the fact that you've got so many different degree programs and so many young minds want to go there because education is such an important part of who we are as Guamanians, and it's a fun career, and you are actually making that happen for so many people, and I think that's to be commended.
Well, we're very grateful and thank you for acknowledging that, but it's a team of highly dedicated faculty, staff, and the leadership support that we get here from the University of Guam.
Mm-hmm. And probably, Dr. Aguon, your school with the School of Education, really folds into this core idea for Charter Month of transforming lives and advancing communities, because the lessons that you teach and then that your students then go into the classroom and teach, these span generations here, not only on the island, but across the Pacific.
Yes, that's true, and I'm gonna share that with you in a while as soon as you start with your questions, because I'm excited to share that with you.
Yeah, that's the first one. So how would you say that the School of Education directly contributes to the idea of transforming lives and advancing communities?
Well, historically, the School of Education has formed the foundation of the University of Guam, and it continues to prepare educators to serve our island and the surrounding Micronesia communities. So since 1952, that's 70 years ago, the School of Education has impacted thousands of lives in contributing to the bulk of training and licensure of K-12 teachers in the region. So we know that teachers create every other profession in the world. We know that. So with the preparation of highly skilled graduates, they become teachers, educators, and administrators. The School of Education has had an influential role in transforming lives and advancing communities in all areas of the region. Now, while this impact started on Guam, the SOE has had the privilege of working with our partners also in the region with teacher preparation and advanced degrees. So our positive impact on the local DOE and the local schools, the past and current partnerships in the FSM, Yap, Pohnpei, Chuuk, and Koshrai, and now in Palau, it's immeasurable, but the evidence of our commitment to the people of Guam and the region is still strong.
Now, I know, Dr. Aguon, that one thing that that UOG has had to do across its various colleges and schools is adapt to workforce changes, and the pandemic certainly showed us that about distance learning, remote teaching, remote communication, remote fiesta even we've had to do. But probably more than any other college, you have had to incorporate as part of your curriculum, the pedagogy of working when you're not in the same place as your students, and dealing with young people and attention spans and whatnot. So how have you had to adapt and to change and to incorporate these new methods of learning for your teachers?
The landscape of education is and has changed, definitely. Now, not only in response to the global pandemic, but also as the needs of our communities evolve in relation to the transformations of our society and the knowledge and skills expected of our graduating students to contribute to an advanced global society as educational leaders. And in the education profession, for example, you never stop learning. So as times have changed, particularly over the last few years, the focus on and need for social emotional learning and trauma-informed practices has increased. And with that, the preparation programs have had to evolve in order to meet the needs of the young people in the K-12 environment or in the community. Now, while people in this region have always described us as resilient, as we've weathered natural and political crises, the need to provide the skills to our future educators and leaders has become more apparent with the pandemic. So as education has had to respond to the pandemic, the conversations regarding social and emotional well-being and mental health are now more central than they have been before. The SOE graduates have received instruction in the most effective teaching methods and the current technologies for working with students of all abilities and ages.
And I know the graduates and the program and the framework that you've been able to to assemble and and to teach every single year with the help of your faculty and your administrators. You're so proud of that. So what do you see as as the leader of SOE as some of the strengths of your academic program? And gosh, I wish I knew how many times I've covered like a UOG graduation, and it's always like a school of education student who winds up being like the valedictorian, because that's happened a lot of times.
Yes, in the past, and more so also you're going to see the sprinkling of the other academic disciplines also make it to the valedictorian stage and make their speech. But it's good to note that. But the SOE's biggest strengths academically are the experiences and the expertise of our faculty to guide the preparation of teachers, professionals, and educational leaders through the design of our programs. So our faculty benefit from the years of experience, yet they maintain the enthusiasm toward innovation. Our faculty are quick to respond to the new challenges within the education field and globally, as demonstrated in this past pandemic. So in terms of technology, for example, our new student teachers who entered the workforce were often sought by the GDOE teachers regarding the technology and that pivot, that abrupt pivot. So in essence, our SOE programs are rigorous. They're aligned to national and accreditation standards and aligned to the university and district initiatives. And that in turn leads to our collaborative discussions and decisions. So you can see the rigor and alignment are only possible because we deliberately evaluate the outcomes through planned data collection, design, and analysis of student achievement. Now, with teacher preparation, one of the biggest strengths are our partners across the university campus. You're familiar with this, Jason, because I came from the math department. Yep. So our future teachers also need the foundation of the content or the subject that they're supposed to teach, primarily for the secondary teachers, but also for our elementary teachers. So the relationships we have with, for example, the math, science, history, government, English, fine arts, Chamorro studies faculty, and all the others on campus, it's imperative to the success of our future teachers. We also have advanced programs, and our advanced programs have experts in their fields for admin and supervision, counseling, reading, special education, and teaching. And they work with experts in the field to supplement the coursework and the instruction in these programs in order to provide the most thorough and relevant education for our advanced candidates.
Well, Alicia, I was going to say, I graduated in '96, and there's something about the School of Education, because I remember when UOG was basically re-architecting the entire campus. The School of Education was the first college that got a brand new facility. You see it behind you there with your virtual background. This beautiful facility. I still can't get over it. I'm still jealous because education got it first. I was still in the old A building. And then the English department, social sciences got their building and everything. We finally got our building for SPBA, but you guys were the first one. I'm still jealous.
Yeah, I was still also at that time back in math, but also envious of School of Education, and not to think that I'd be here many, many years later. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. But it was really exciting to see the School of Education building go up and also provide that picture and demonstrate that the university is growing here on campus.
There you go. If you can't beat them, join them. But just the facility itself, it's so conducive to learning, to networking, to collaborating, to creating and everything like that. And I think that's why you turn out the quality product that you do.
We really try. We really try.
Okay, so for incoming students, and education is an aspiration and an ambition that so many Guamanians have. Like I know 8-year-old kids who say, I want to be a teacher because my Nina's a teacher, my grandpa's a teacher, somebody, I had a really good teacher, so I want to do that when I grow up. So these are things that people want to do for a very, very long time. For incoming Tritons, right, what do they have to look forward to as far as the opportunities you'll provide for them?
Well, first of all, offering new degree programs creates opportunities to work with the community. So the UOG community, the local and the regional community, to support program activities to further enrich the learning experiences of our students. So the SOE is continuing to grow to meet the needs of our community in the region. For our students coming in, and we have the elementary and the secondary programs, and then after that, the advanced to the master's programs, we have 7 of those master's programs. Now, the School of Education is adding a postgraduate program as an educational specialist. That's the education specialist degree in academic leadership, and also a doctorate of education degree in instructional leadership. So, for example, 11 courses in the education specialist degree. 8 of those will apply towards a doctorate if someone wishes to continue further. Both of these degrees will be offered online in anticipation of meeting the needs of our working professionals and the needs of those in the region who cannot travel to Guam. Bringing this level of education to Guam and making it accessible to those in the region will only make Guam and regional areas stronger and more dynamic environments. Now, for the young minds coming out of high school, for example, they often look at teachers who've also made a difference in their lives. And because these teachers made a difference in their lives, they too want to consider going into teaching. So here at the School of Education, teacher preparation is a challenging and exciting field of study. It goes beyond the textbooks to explore global and local perspectives. And teaching is a highly social profession with unlimited opportunities locally and through the states, as they will learn as they engage with other students here in the School of Education.
Absolutely.
And what we noticed, yes, and you notice, and you know, Jason, teacher shortages are trending worldwide.
Mhm.
And you can see that also more so from the pandemic, but they're going to hear from once they enter the workforce that there is that passion for teaching, and we hope to inspire and encourage and nurture that passion through our programs and their interactions in the school system. But let me say that there's simply no other institution offering this transformative experience for young teacher candidates than here at the School of Education. And we offer our students the opportunity to take their place at the forefront of regional and global educational reform as well.
Well, that's a perfect segue to my final question, because I was going to say, like, externally to UOG, Dr. Aguon, what do today's educational institutions have to look forward to when they're considering a University of Guam School of Education graduate, as far as competency, preparedness, work ethic? Because we could have the next John Fernandez going to school, like right now at UOG, the next superintendent of public education, maybe the next Father Val Rodriguez, the next superintendent of Catholic education. There might be SOE graduates that go into DODEA. I mean, the lessons you're providing open up an entire world of career opportunities.
And you're right. And if you look at the landscape, our teachers coming out of the School of Education are in all those areas, whether it be the only school district that we have for GDOE, our charter schools, our private schools, our DODEA schools. Yes, our teachers are coming out and in those areas. Our world faces many challenges. Our generation and generations to come must contribute to innovation, provide a voice of reason, and have the capacity to reflect on lessons passed down by generations. More so too, we have to be cognizant that children living in the Pacific have a unique and valuable perspective on the global challenges, and that they have a voice that the world needs to hear. So our teachers help our students walk up the first few steps so they may confidently stand on that stage and be heard. Now, the opportunity to also obtain a postmaster's degree, actually we're going to have 2 locally from our University of Guam, is it's going to be offered online and distance education format. These opportunities are ways to advance our teachers and strengthen their areas and their learning, and prepare them for the direction and beyond the school building. Now, hopefully with the lift of the pandemic constraints, our future teachers can have more engagement with our schools and the community activities. And our students can continue to be the conduit to bridge the school and the community efforts. So in essence, it is really gratifying and worthwhile looking at what SOE has done, is doing, and is continuing to do since 1952. So in 70 years later, we're still at the forefront of educating and preparing teachers.
Yes, indeed. So, like, Alicia, I've known you a very, very long time, and the School of Education is in very, very good and capable hands. And I know, like, above all, you just really, really care, and I think that comes through.
I'm so grateful. Thank you, Jason, and also grateful for the diverse talents and expertise of our School of Education faculty, our adjuncts, our staff, and our whole university community that support the university, especially our leadership. So thank you for recognizing us today for that.
Sure. Okay. Well, I have to give my former teacher like a little bit of a pop quiz. Alicia, can I get you to say Biba School of Education, Biba UOG?
Oh, absolutely. Maulika, no. Biba School of Education, Biba UOG, Jan Gosap Torudu I Animizu Mona.
All right. So just Mossy, Alicia, very good to see you as always. Congratulations to you and your team on your success.
Si Zeus Masi.
All right, Malcolm Moss.